Oh, we're live. We're live. We're going live.
No, we're not live.
All right. So
there's always a false count before the
count.
count.
False count.
No, that's the count. We're rolling.
Oh, we're rolling. All right.
We're not live though.
Oh.
We're live, but we're not live.
But it's live to the people.
Well, that's the sweet, sweet sounds of Christian Perello, King Goon himself.
He didn't turn his light on this time.
He doesn't have his lights on.
Does he have his camera on?
Doesn't have his camera on.
The camera's the wide shot.
The camera's the wide shot.
Oh, hell yeah. We got the wide shot today for you.
You know, Chris.
What's up, y'all?
Chris brought his girl to the last pod, and people were talking too much about it, so he said, "No more cameras."
Shut that.
No
shit
more.
down
Said I'll
quickly.
fucking fight you.
No
Fucking
more.
fight you, dude.
Yeah, we've.
Dude, you don't know. When I get fucking angry, bro, I see red and bodies hit the fucking floor, dude.
Oh no, I don't fight for fake. I don't play fight. I fight for real. You know, I fight dirty. Yeah, we in fairness to Christian, we have accumulated a wonderful cavalcade of gooners as our audience members. So good for him. Good for him. This is Mickey Gall. I am Gerard Michaels. Mick, are you aware that Bill Belichick, the great coach, Bill Belichick, is dating a 23-year-old ex-cheerleader?
I heard of such. Now, how old's Bill Belichick?
I believe
He's got to be in his 60s.
74, I think he is.
You think he's that old?
Yeah.
I mean, he could be.
Chris,
with
look it up with Bill Belichick. I think he's 74.
Is that right?
74, dating a 23-year-old. Even weirder, hanging out with her 50-something-year-old dad. And he seemed very happy.
And like the
about
dad's
the whole thing.
like a fan of his.
Yeah. He's like, oh yeah.
He's 72.
He's 72.
Ah.
72. So a cool 49 years difference there.
I respect it. Good for him. Good for Belichick.
That used to be known as Mick Jaggering, but when
Al Pacinoing.
Al Pacinoing.
Didn't Al Pacino just have a kid about and he was like 83?
I think De Niro too, right? Didn't he do it? Elon Musk just had
De Niro
another
likes
kid.
the sisters.
Yeah, he does. De Niro likes the sweet meat. Yeah, he's down with the brown.
Now, Pacino, I feel like he had a kid like a year ago, and he was like 80 something. Like,
can you imagine if he was just finding out about it? He was like, "Whoa,
What else would he say?
Just this once, I'll let you ask me about my business."
He would say, "She's got a great ass."
I hope the pregnant lady, not the baby.
No, that's why he left it in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why he's like, she had a great ass.
Why'd you have a kid with her?
Apparently she was dating.
She had a great ass, and you got your head all the way up in it.
Yeah.
Apparently she was dating a 64-year-old before.
She got a type.
Yeah.
She's got a type. That
type is not working. So I don't like doing labor.
Like at all.
Yeah.
Like
I don't want to sell earrings at a kiosk. I'm going to date old men.
I like taking trips.
Yeah.
I like being in bed by 8 o'clock.
I like boats.
Yeah. What do you want to do this weekend, honey? I was just thinking we'd take a walk and then a nap. I like this guy. What time do you want dinner, babe? I don't know, 3 o'clock, 3:30?
Sounds kind of like me, a walk
guy.
and a nap. Sounds a little like me when I'm in camp.
Well, they used to make fun of, or some people would try to make fun of Charlemagne. Charlemagne was like
Charlemagne the God?
Charlemagne the King, the quote unquote father of Europe. He was notorious for sleeping till like noon. He was like, and then he would take naps. He was like, so some of his detractors say that he spent half of his rule asleep.
Really?
I'm like, well, imagine that dude was
What's
able
he
to do
doing
that
at night? He
Yeah,
might be
he's ready to
doing
go,
a lot of
bro.
work. Some people are, at night is when you do your best thinking. You're clear. The
founder
whole
of
day is,
the founder of the Holy Roman Empire. Maybe people are doing it wrong by getting up at 6 a.m.
Sometimes I do feel like best and like most social, like at like the 10 o'clock hour.
Oh, big time. I'm an all-time night owl.
Like I'll be having like business ideas. I want to like call like my partners on it, and I'm like, I can't call them at midnight.
No, that's the
But I do.
That's the curse, I guess, of being a comedian and whatever. Like, I'll start thinking of bits or like I'll start writing at midnight. Everything's calmed down. You're not getting text messages. The news is over for the day.
Did you ever see that Hunter S. Thompson thing?
No, about what? I love Hunter S. Thompson.
Christian, pull this up. Pull up Hunter S. Thompson drug schedule. Pull that up. Drug schedule.
No way, for real?
Bro, this is
he'd
fucking
wake up and go
hysterical.
wild
We're gonna
turkey.
read this to the audience, and this is fucking nuts. He like it's amazing. Well, he'll pull that up in a second, but tell people who Hunter S. Thompson is, because this fits to what you're saying about kind of doing the thing. Like, you do start writing late, you said, right?
Yeah, and it screws you because then, I one of the things that I marvel about with you and your personality is, like, you can pause movies and come back to it a week later.
Bro,
Like,
if I don't
need
pause
to finish the
movies,
story.
if I don't pause movies, I'm not watching the movie.
That's crazy to me.
I can't. Yeah, I could, but it'd be like rare for me to sit through like a whole movie in like one go.
I'm so deep in the other category that I like tremble to start a new series because I know I'm locked in for
You'll
12
finish
hours.
a series in
Locked
a day?
in for 12 hours.
Bro, if I'm
I
watching
have
a
to know the
series,
end. I
if I'm
have
watching
to
a
know the
I
end.
watch movies and series in about 20-minute clips. I only watch shit when I'm like eating.
This is how I know something's a shitty series, by the way, also. And this is like what happened with The Bear, right? I'll watch the first episode, like, because I don't want to get invested. I'll watch the first episode of season 2, and I'll watch the last episode of season 2. And if I'm not lost,
I'm sorry. You watched the first and the last
I'll watch
episode?
the first episode,
And then you just skip to the end?
and I'll watch the last episode.
Dude, spoiler alert. What the
And
fuck?
well, here's the thing. And if I'm not lost at all, I'm like, fuck it, I don't need to watch this series. This is all filler. Everything that happened in between is filler. If I can watch the
you
first
really do that and we'll spoil something like that.
100%. It's not spoiling. It's whether or not I want to make the investment of the 10 hours to watch the series.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
a fucking. That's
So
an interesting move.
I did it with the Bear. You know, everybody was so excited about the Bear. I watched the first episode of season 2, and I was like, meh. And then I watched the last episode, and I was like, I'm not lost at all. I do not need to watch the other 10 episodes.
Yeah, it all came full circle.
Yeah,
and
I'm
you got
like, this is-
everything. You got the girl, and you got the thing. I don't know. I never saw it.
Basically. Yeah. And then he fucked it up because, you know, we need to know what happens.
Season 3.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So now I'm out. I'm out on the Bear. See you later.
Christian, that's a little too small for us, so I think you're gonna have to read that to the audience.
Yeah, I got it. I'll pop
Get
it
yourself
up
nice,
here.
familiar. Start from the beginning. Take that. All right, yeah, there you go. I can't read that. Those
All
are
right,
too
I got
small.
it. So we got 3 p.m.
So now this is Hunter S. Thompson, who's a great writer.
Mhm.
Wrote Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. He
Great
wrote
Shark Hunt, folled around. He
the,
was a
the
political writer, very
Hell's
anti-Nixon.
Angels.
Yep, lived in
He was
Cuba.
anti-Nixon, huh?
Yeah, very anti-Nixon. Very.
And Homeboy was on our show, not Roger Moore.
Yeah. Roger Stone.
He loves Nixon.
Loves Nixon. Has Nixon tattooed on his back.
Yeah.
Some of Nixon's been vindicated. Nixon is getting.
A lot of the shit I've been seeing recently about Nixon
He's
is
been vindicated.
They demonized him undeservedly.
Well, see, this goes down to kind of like, what do you want out of your president? Like, Nixon was a cocksucker. There's no doubt about it. Nixon was kind of a mafia guy. Nixon was.
He was kind of a mafia guy?
Yeah.
How so?
He lost to Kennedy.
Right. And he
saw how he lost to Kennedy.
Yeah.
And then went all in on,
You
you
fought fire with fire.
You want dirty tricks? Oh, I got dirty tricks.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest political comebacks of all time, became president, and frankly was doing a great job as president. In retrospect, was doing a great job as president.
He was very petty. He kept like a list
Remarkably petty.
of his enemies and like
So this is the thing, right?
vindictive.
What do you want out of your president? I think one of the problems we have in today's world, and it comes from television and now the phone and everything, everybody wants like somebody, like the whole thing you used to hear with Obama, like, oh, I'd love to have a beer with Obama. Like, okay. Like, you don't want the president to be your buddy. That's not me anyway. I want my president to have a little petty to him. I want my president to have a little bit of an edge. I want my president to look across at Putin and be like, are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah.
Are you positive?
I'm with you. I want it to be a strong guy who they're not gonna fuck around with.
So he kind of, it turns out, and now we're getting a little Gerard versus Evil here, but
That's all right.
he wasn't all about giving Israel the blank check.
Nixon.
And then he didn't trust the CIA at all because he believed from the jump that they unalived JFK. So he's like, oh, you're going to do to them what you did to me? No. We're firing people. We're cutting people off at the knees. We're getting rid of money. And it turns out like 3 of the dudes, the plumbers were CIA
guys. Yeah.
So CIA's wild.
Yeah,
CIA
they're
is on
powerful,
some
man.
Game of Thrones shit, bro. CIA do not play. CIA is responsible for at least 60 different coups that we know about since the 50s. Brazil, all of Central America, pretty much all of South America, Iran-Contra, the entire Middle East, every Baltic state. The CIA started rigging elections in Italy in the late 40s and never stopped. So, you know, who's really running what?
So, all right. So you think the CIA is too powerful?
Oh my God, yeah. my
Do you
God.
think that democracy and like a president is the ideal form of government?
I don't. I
You
caught.
don't.
I caught so much shit for this on We Are Change with Luke Rudkowski. Love
That
Luke.
podcast?
Love that show. Yeah, so millions of people watch it, and they didn't like that. I'm not pro democracy. I'm not.
What do you think is the ideal form of government?
I think some sort of weighted democratic system, some sort of weighted republic, something. I know that this sounds it just sounds bad as I say it out loud. It sounds too much like social credit score. But
That doesn't seem like you at all.
Yeah, I don't think a system where people that have nothing to lose by it going wrong should have the same say as people who have
So when you
everything
say
to lose.
weighted, you're saying like if you're like an important person, which I guess sounds bad too.
No,
you
like-
should have more. Your vote should count for more.
Yeah, but what is important?
But
Like
let's say your fucking IQ is higher.
I think IQ should matter. I think
If you're under 100 IQ, which a lot of people are actually. Do you know that?
Yeah.
A lot of people are like in the 90s.
I think isn't 100 average?
I
I thought 100 was so yeah. I mean half would be less. I know 80 means like
Well-
we can't do anything with you.
I know 75 is Forrest Gump.
Yeah, 80 IQ, which is apparently a little more than 10% of the population. The army tried for years to figure out something
What to
for
do with these people?
and there was nothing that wasn't a net negative.
They couldn't be like,
Like
here's a gun and go shoot.
there was nothing. They couldn't have 80 IQs like clean the latrines. It was a net negative. They would mess it up and cost them more money.
How the fuck do you do that?
Well, that when you
They're
that,
footers there putting toilet paper down the fucking.
they're breaking stuff or not showing. Yeah, so it costs more money to manage them. So that's a huge problem, right? Like that's actually kind of the socialist argument is like, all right, so if more than 10% of the population has an 80 IQ or less, what do we do with 10% of the population? 10% sounds like a low number, but we have 340 million people. That's 34 million people. 34 million short bus motherfuckers just roaming around, hanging out, serving us Chipotle. Like, what do we do? It's a tough one. Like, are we just supposed to like, let people just fend for themselves when they physically do not have the capacity to do so? I think that that's the future. But my perfect government, I don't think that it should be one government oversee by one person for both external and internal governance. I think there's a very different personality type for foreign policy than for domestic policy.
Okay.
And I think that we should mimic the biological body of the human body politic. I think that you need a male father figure for external politics, and I think you need a motherly female figure for internal politics. I think that you need a hard ass to face the world going forward, but I think that same hard ass can be very, very harsh on matters of domestic policy.
This is interesting. So I feel like you've kind of morphed your opinion on this a little bit. Is that in the wake of that podcast where you caught a bunch of shit?
No.
Is this what you said on the podcast?
Well, I've been trying to figure it out, right? Because my libertarian ideals have been, stretched to their absolute limits over the last 10 to 15 years. Like I keep, and I start wondering, especially after I went to the LP National Convention, and these are not serious people, and I'm wondering as I'm looking around at these folks, like, is this my version of communism? Is this my version of socialism? Is this like the utopian ideal? Like the utopian ideal of, well, if we just leave everybody alone, everything will be all right. Like you leave me alone, I leave you alone, we're cool, man. Yeah, but what happens when one person just refuses to let anybody else alone?
They get squashed.
But do they? Then who does the squashing? And then after that person squashes the bully, do they go like, okay, well, I'm just going back? Like once every 10 generations you get a George Washington, you get a Cincinnatus, you know what I'm saying? Even a Sulla. You look at Sulla, like everybody looks at Caesar. Sulla was the real badass. Sulla is basically...
Sulla was right before Caesar?
Yeah. Sulla is basically...
They battled, basically, right? Sulla and Caesar?
Well, Sulla and Marius. And Caesar was only 19 years old.
And who was...
His parents were...
Right,
and his family,
right.
the Julii clan was in with Marius.
Yeah.
Marius was a bad mother sucker, man. Marius was.
I don't know much about Marius. I know
lot of
about
people don't.
Sulla and I know about who was the guy Caesar was battling with and they killed him and then Caesar killed those guys.
Pompey.
Pompey.
So Pompey was with Sulla.
Right.
And a 19-year-old Caesar was brought before. So Sulla did this thing called, is it prescriptions? Chris, look this up. Sulla, I think it's proscriptions or prescriptions. He put out a list, and he said, this is the price. All of Marius's people. This ain't your city no more. If you're in the city, anybody brings me any of these people, there's a cash reward. And so then it got really nasty. Senators were putting their rivals on this list. And
it's a proscription. You're correct.
Proscription.
See that wide shot, Christian.
And Caesar's family, the Julii were on it. Now Caesar was a cocky little 19-year-old dude. Now it was funny. He came in there with the equivalent of like baggy pants and a tucked shirt. It was like, what you want, bro? And then his whole family, the Julii clan, were begging for his life. They're like, no, he had nothing to do with this. He's a good guy.
But he acted rebellious.
He was so cocky that Sulla's like, you guys
gonna be a problem.
You should do something about this. He said, I see much of a Marius in him. And then he was like, all right, fine. You want him to be alive? He's your problem. By the time he comes of age, it's not going to be an issue for me.
He's like, but you should put this dude down. Wow.
Yep. And now, again, grain of salt, because everything we know about Caesar comes from Caesar. So,
Of course. He was his own fucking PR publicist. You can put it back, Christian. I was just checking it out.
Yeah, but anyway, getting back to Hunter S. Thompson.
Well, no, not yet. See, it's funny that you brought up Rome because I thought you were going to say your ideal form of government would be a benevolent dictator.
Yeah, but you can't count on that, though. That is the most ideal government. A benevolent dictator is the most ideal government.
So then you need – all right, well, I want you to explain that, but I also I think you get like a benevolent fucking ruling board. You know what I mean? And you have a good real system of checks and balances.
Mm-hmm. And
homeboy gets out of line. He gets squashed.
Yep.
And then you bring in another benevolent. I know in Rome it was like, what is it, every third dictator is good?
That's what they said, yeah. That's what they said.
Right?
Yeah.
So you get like two crappy ones, then you get a good one, then you get two crappy ones, then you get a good one.
Yeah, the problem is that they really believe that, so they just started murking these dudes.
Right?
So by the end, they were going through one every like 3 months.
Yeah, so they're like, all right, yep, he's the number 2, so we got to get rid of him because then that next one's going to be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
So explain what a benevolent dictator is.
Well, benevolent dictator, man, is like somebody that, again, it's very difficult because we have such disagreements as a people as to how things should be done, right? The benevolent dictator cuts through all of the red tape. There's no bureaucracy. You need a road done, it's done. You need a building built, it's built. You need permitting, then you got to go to this guy. There's no levels of bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy was I threw a little fit the other day about bureaucracy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hate it, bro. Everything is fucking. It's the
worst.
It's like you need this. Well, you need to do this, and this.
Yep.
And you got to go through here. But now I can't help you with that. But if you call this, bro.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's why that bridge that was totally not terrorism that the tanker ran into. They think it cost
TNT.
It cost
totally not terrorism.
TNT. It cost, I think, $70 million to build, and it took a year. And now I think back in the 70s when it was built, now it's going to cost like $2 billion and take 10 years. Like, that's bureaucracy. China doesn't have to deal with that. Russia doesn't have to deal with that. They want something built, it's built. So that's why for like these tech guys, like why they're so pro-China, because the government just lets them do whatever they want to do.
It's like more efficient.
It's way more for them. It's way more efficient. You just pay off one guy in the government and it's done.
Bro, I was trying to deal with my insurance the other day. Crazy. That was the shit that was giving me the bureaucratic fucking. I was flipping out.
Yeah.
I was using the word bureaucratic.
You're making me be multisyllabic.
Yeah.
I never use as many syllables.
That.
Yeah. But here's the thing: if people want to do something, if they want to spend a fun afternoon, read the Federalist Papers. All of our founding fathers had these discussions, had these arguments. Our government did not come about arbitrarily. It's the greatest governmental debate. It's the greatest debate of all time about who like Hamilton wanted us to be a monarchy. He was like, why
monarchy and have Washington be the king?
Yeah, he needs central bank. He's like, why the hell should we put up all the money to fight this thing? Less than 10% of the population fought in the Revolutionary War, and he's like, why should these people get the fruits of our labor? No, like we should.
Who wanted that?
Hamilton.
Oh shit!
Yeah, which is amazing that he's like he's the rebrand of the common man now. It's so funny. He was he was the worst. He was out of all of our founding fathers. He was
now Hamilton. He grew up in like Jamaica.
No, he was a plantation owner in the Bahamas, and then he grew up in New York. Yeah,
Bahamas.
Yeah, but
But didn't his mother like shit herself to death in front of him?
A lot of the people did that, but they called it dysentery back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his parents weren't together, right? I think that was kind of part of the edge he had. Was like kind of like he watched him and his mom were like basically like sick, like kind of alone in the Bahamas.
Oh really?
Yeah, from my understanding.
Well, and
he died in a duel.
Well, he died in a duel. Aaron Burr, not Berg, Aaron Burr shot him in the duel, and Hamilton tried to like do the whole I'm not gonna boom. All right, should have pointed the gun, bro.
Yeah, or he shouldn't have signed up to the duel.
Yeah, shouldn't have been stooping all the other guys' wives.
That's what he's doing. Is that why Burr shot him?
Well, Burr shot him because he thought that Hamilton was everything that they fought the Brits for. Hamilton wanted to tax the people. Hamilton wanted a central bank. Hamilton wanted one federal government. Burr is sitting here like, why did we fight Britain to become Britain? This doesn't make any sense, Okay. And Hamilton was a pretty boy, arrogant. He was the original F boy. So this guy back in the day could do something about it, and he did something about it.
Yeah.
But then Burr wasn't a hero for it either. Burr was a vice president at one point in time, and that pretty much ended his public
political
life.
aspirations.
Yeah.
So before we read the Hunter S. Thompson thing, explain a benevolent dictator to the people. Why that's
Marcus Aurelius is like who's known as a benevolent dictator. He's a guy that just says yeah. He's like your boss. A benevolent dictator is if you've ever worked at a company that has a really nice, really empathetic,
and this is in place of a president, just
really
so people
capable,
get the picture.
Really capable boss,
right?
And the company runs very well, right? That's kind of the idea.
Like a guy who's he cares about the company, cares about his workers. He cares.
Yeah.
That's the benevolence.
Sure.
But he's on top. He's running the show.
Yeah. So our founding fathers wanted this government to be as complicated as possible. After debating each other, because remember, 1776, we declare independence.
Right.
Washington is not inaugurated. Chris, tell me when Washington's inaugurated. 1784? 1783? Everybody thinks like America started in 1776. America declared independence in 1776. The actual government didn't form and function. They were going under the Congressional Congress before then. So, I mean, if we really want to be technical, Washington's not the first president.
This says 1789?
1789 was when he was inaugurated.
First inauguration of George Washington as the first president of the United States was held on Thursday, April 30th, 1789.
Now, 1776 is when we won.
No, it's just when we declared. It's when we wrote the greatest fuck you of all time.
And homeboy John Hancock signed that shit big.
Bang!
And then that's when the war started. So when was the war won?
1780? Was it 1780? 1780? It puts into perspective the War of 1812.
I want you to explain that, but I'm going to use the restroom real quick.
All right, let's get a cut.
Yeah. Good fun politics, G.
Yeah.
So you got 1812 and the date of the end of the war when we come back.
Yep. Once I was 7 years old, Mama told me, go and get yourself a girl or else you'll be lonely. You crazy. Mama told me.
All right, let's get back into it.
Huh. That's weird. So, we're recording? Yeah, so what year did the Revolutionary War end? Was it 1780?
It was 1783.
1783. September 3rd, 1783. So for 7 years, these guys did the best they could to stick and move on Britain.
Guerrilla warfare.
Guerrilla war, and then
we here at home at the great old U.S. of A.
Yeah, we were kind of the British Empire's Vietnam. Very unpopular at home. Didn't like that they were spending all this time, money, and so when it finally finished, that means that there was 6 years of debates and deliberations about what this government should be. Now, the whole time, mind you, Britain, again, we just teach history so poorly.
Wait, when was the 6 years?
Between 1783, when the war actually ended, and we gained our independence. You don't gain your independence just because you go, hey, we hold these truths to be self-evident, fuck off. That's not.
I declare independence.
I declare independence.
Now, what was so wait,
Britain
what was
like,
when?
No.
When did we? What was the end of the 6 years? So that was in 79.
No, it was 83. So 1776.
Right. I'm sorry.
To 83, and then from 83 to 89.
To 89. That's
before
what I meant.
they elected. Like we act like, all right, well, the war ended in 1776.
Washington's up.
Washington. Yeah. Nah, it was 6 years about what should we do? How do we form this government? Who's doing what?
Okay, so they fought for 7 and then
remember,
deliberated for 6.
A lot of people did not want one government. Like Virginia wanted to be the country of Virginia. Georgia wanted to be the country of Georgia. They were like, why should we be
But they really regretted not really pushing for that come the Civil War.
Which, if you put that into perspective, look at how tight that time frame actually is.
No, 100%. And I think the history is important for the understanding and kind of the nuance of the politics.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like we're gonna get back to you talking about the benevolent dictator thing, but to understand kind of your reasoning for that is kind of you have to know your history a little bit.
Look,
I think all politics I think a lot of you're gonna feel kind of like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you don't have the nuance of the history, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean the problem is with the benevolent dictator is if you choose wrong, it's very, very, very wrong.
That's why you got the group of 5 people.
So the Council of Elders. So the idea of the Council of Elders, and again, they talked about all this stuff. Our founding fathers were brilliant, dude. Brilliant. The fact that they've been reduced down to these slave-owning rich white men, it's so gross, dude. These were brilliant people. Also,
badasses, yo.
They were young.
Balls.
It's hilarious that we have 2 80-year-olds running for president now. The people that founded this country signed the Declaration of Independence at 20, 21, 22. Look up the age of the founding fathers, bro.
Yeah,
it's nuts. These guys were 22, 20, 24. I think James Madison might have been 18. Just brilliant
balls,
people,
man.
right?
James Monroe was 18.
James Monroe was 18.
In 1776.
Yep.
Aaron Burr, 20. Alexander Hamilton, 21. James Madison, 25. Thomas Jefferson, 13. No, I'm just kidding. 33. John Adams, 40. Paul Revere, 41. George Washington was 44.
Yeah. Crazy. And then you had Grandpa Ben Franklin, who was the original rabble rouser. He was 70. And he was like, yeah, you guys should totally fight for I'm going to go over here in France and hang out with these whores and try to get you guys some money. But you young men should really fight for your independence. If I was your age, I'd fight for independence. Yeah, dude. And the other thing, too, our founding fathers, they got angry at the bar. They would meet at the bar, get angry, get all pissed off about 3% taxes. 3% taxes. 3.
Yeah.
Average American's paying 45% taxes now, by the way. These guys got angry about, they were 3%? I got to pay the crown 3 whole pennies on my salary? Yeah. This is outrageous.
Yeah.
And dude, and again, put into perspective what they did. We think of the Tea Party as these guys who got dressed up like Indians and, Pirates of the Caribbean, hopped on the ship, dumped the tea in the harbor. No, dude. Those were fucking British naval vessels. That would be like us getting drunk, putting on camouflage, breaking into a Navy base, and dumping shit off of warships into the harbor. Do you imagine the cojones on these dudes? The
Hey,
nuts on these guys?
when do we start your 3 pennies thing? It's funny, but when did we start with the dollar? You know when that came about?
The American dollar?
Yeah.
It's another one of those things that came out. Well, we're gonna get so sidetracked.
The modern
American dollar was taken off the gold standard by Nixon.
Okay.
So the dollar hasn't been the same.
But we had dollars. But when
1792.
1792 is when the American dollar. They were on the British pound before that. The American dollar became the world's reserve currency after World War II, which accelerated us into a superpower. And the Federal Reserve came into existence in 1913, which you can argue is when the United States was sold to the world's richest family. Probably sold back to the British Empire. So I mean that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
What was so pop back to the 1812.
So this is the thing.
Then we're gonna wrap this portion up with the benevolent dictator.
So think of that timeline, right? So now you've got Washington at 1780. We know the War of 1812 happened, but we brush over it.
Washington is the president. He's like, they're like, we want you to be king. Want you to be king. He's like, fuck, I want to chill out in Virginia, dog.
Yeah, dude.
I've been running all over the Northeast, fucking fighting for years. Now I want to put my feet up, relax. They're like, no, we want you to be king. He's like, all right.
I got slaves, man.
He's like, look,
why you making me do real work?
I'll be let's call it the president. And
I'll give you 4 years.
And and there's terms and there's limits, bro. Like I'm not doing this forever.
No, but there were no limits back then. He could have been whatever.
Could have been, but he
set a precedent. He set a precedent. The president set a precedent.
You got it.
Right? So there was no. Now, here's another thing. This is going to be very controversial. During the Civil War, Lincoln just shit all over the Constitution. Lincoln suspended habeas corpus, got rid of free speech, did some real funky shit with local elections, had his opposition jailed. Lincoln is, remembered. Lincoln, to me, is the absolute perfect example of, the cliche that the bad guys never won a war. You ever notice that everybody who wins the war is the good guy? Of
course.
Lincoln.
History is written by the victor.
Lincoln is the absolute father of history. History is written by the victors. But all the rough shit that he did, people theorize because he wrote about it. He was going to try to make it up to the country. He felt very guilty about his abuse of power, and John Wilkes Booth killing Lincoln actually really screwed the South with Reconstruction because he felt bad, whereas Grant wanted his pound of flesh. Grant felt a little vengeful and was like, yeah. And Reconstruction was very vengeful.
I heard multiple. I remember reading Grant things where he could have been a fucking dick.
Yep.
And it was like, no, it's better for the country to forgive. It's better for the country to forgive. We gotta like move on now.
I think Grant did a great job. I think Grant is one of the underrated second founding fathers of this country.
Yeah, like Grant.
But he was a lot harsher than Lincoln would have been. He's not as harsh as some of the other guys, would have been, but like Andrew Jackson and those guys. But he's not as bad as they wanted.
Jackson was probably our most vicious president.
Oh, Jackson was.
He was vicious.
Yeah, first guy impeached. Did
he actually leave?
No.
I didn't think.
No. Yeah, Jackson was rough. So the War of 1812, just real quick. Think of the time. So think of the timeline.
40 years after Washington started.
Yeah, but it's
42.
No, it's 22 years after Washington is inaugurated. Only 22.
I'm sorry, my bad math.
22. And it's really just, what is that?
Wait, no, it's not.
1880 to 1812. I mean, 1780.
So it's
20, 12, 32.
32.
32.
It was between us.
Jeez.
Both of us are
32. Yeah.
over here.
So it's 24 years. It's one generation after Washington leaves office. Everybody, again, the way history is taught, it's like, Britain was just like, okay, well, we lost the war. See you guys later. Hope you guys still sell us some tobacco. No. Britain was salty. Yeah. And they just were abusing the shit out of the coast of America. Just
it's
raiding
like
the coast.
When, if like you and like your sibling or your friend are like fighting and they break you up, but you're like next to them and you like pinch them.
Exactly,
Like,
exactly. They were just kidnapping dudes.
I'm still so mad at you.
Like, hey, what are you doing?
I'm not just because they said it's done. I'm not done.
Yeah, it ain't over.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing? Oh, I'm just fishing off the coast of Nantucket. I live right there. They're like, oh, cool. You're in the British Navy now for 10 years. What? Yeah. Or you could die. Okay. Well, I guess I'm in the British Navy. Yeah, you're in the British Navy.
So 1812. What happened there?
Was it Madison or Monroe? I always get them mixed up. I think it was Madison. Madison said enough is enough. Or no, because it had to be Monroe because it's the Monroe Doctrine. Had to be Monroe, right? They're like right next to each other. It's the Monroe Doctrine. And he basically said that the entire coast of North America and South America is American territory. And any ship engaging in trade or piracy, privateering as they called it back then, fell under the purview of the United States Navy. And Britain was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. And they invaded. And they basically would have, they
It's
stormed.
weird that privateering and pirate, it's like if you just move that R over.
Well, that's, yeah.
Privateering, pirate?
Privateering was
private?
legal pirating.
Yeah, but it's just
And
like
then the crowd was like, no, you can't do that anymore.
the R is just on the other side of the I.
Then there's a
almost,
V, and there's
right?
a V in there too. You know? There's a private too.
My
Not
brain's not
pirateering.
working so good today.
I had to say bureaucracy.
But I was closer. I was closer in our bad math.
Yeah.
I said 40. It was 32. You said 20. That you're 12
I'm
off.
way off.
I'm,
but you can't go over.
I'm 8
though.
off.
You can't go over. It's Price is
Oh,
Right
I didn't know it. All right.
Price is Right.
I didn't know it was Price of Right.
Price is Right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Britain kicked the shit out of us in 1812. Kicked the shit out of us. They burnt the White House. They mollywopped us. Dolly Madison saved the portrait of George Washington, ran back into a burning building. Dolly Madison's a badass. Little young for Leo DiCaprio and Bill Belichick, but good for James Madison. I think she was like 19 at the time. She was a bad mother sucker, Dolly Madison.
Nah, that's fine for Leo.
Yeah, you're right.
Leo's he caps him off at 25.
25?
25, you're out, baby.
I think 21. Is it 25?
Yeah.
He's growing. He's growing a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
How do
you know,
these
he's
guys
like
meet these
50
girls?
now.
Where do you meet 18-year-old? I'm always a little weirded out by that. Where do you meet these 18-year-old girls? Like where
playground?
where are you hanging out that you just keep running into 19-year-olds? Like a 23-year-old you meet at the bar, you know? After you're 21, I feel like everything's fair game.
Good question.
You know, but where are you meeting these 19-year-olds, bro?
Good question. Yeah. I don't know.
You imagine swiping right on Leo DiCaprio on Hinge.
You just popping
Is
through
it on
like a
Bumble?
college campus.
Yeah,
like,
he's just exactly. Leo's out there at the quad,
yeah,
just
yeah.
hanging out.
Just hanging out, eating an apple.
Hey there,
Like,
fellow teenagers.
yeah.
Oh, what? Hey, oh my God, that guy looks like Leonardo DiCaprio. What? Who said that?
How did 1812 get resolved?
France, Napoleon.
They helped us, right?
Didn't help us.
Because they didn't like Britain was their rival.
Correct.
So they wasn't France helping us out kind of throughout?
Yeah, they were helping us because we were Ukraine, France was America, and Britain was Russia. They were just like sending us weapons and like money and stuff like that.
The harder time Britain had, the better for them as a superpower.
Correct.
Because that was their rival.
And Napoleon in 1812, it's kind of the whole thing with the Louisiana Purchase. We do the Louisiana Purchase. You know, Napoleon gives us everything west.
Because he needed the
of the
money
Mississippi
for
his
war.
campaigns. That's
Yeah.
right. And he didn't care. He was like, well, once I get done with Europe,
I'm just going to go take that
just
shit back.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah. You guys could, yeah. I'll give you a good price. I'll give you a good deal.
Yeah.
You got to love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, so, I mean, that period of history is so fascinating. And it's just so, it's just not taught well. The nation state, as we know it today, was being born then. We were coming out of kingdoms. Like, we are so close to the Middle Ages. We think we're so far away. And people talk about these terms of like communism and capitalism and democracy as if these were like eternal terms, as if these things are just the way things have always been done. The nation state, the idea of going to a country, having elected officials, right? It's 250 years old. It was kingdoms and fiefdoms. And you could have, I can go into the...
What's a fiefdom?
So this is the thing. Imagine being in America.
Okay.
And using $1, right?
Yeah.
And then Florida or even worse, or like Miami, the guy says, "Well, we're not part of America. You need to use Miami Dolores." You're like, "Whoa, what do you mean? Like, what's going on here?" And you just don't know, like, where you are, who's doing what. There's bandits everywhere. It's a lot of anarchy, man. Like, this is why everybody was rolling around strapped all the time. Everybody had a gun. Everybody had a sword on them.
Because a fiefdom is?
A fiefdom means that basically the richest person, the lord, the duke,
the big dog.
The big dog owns that little town, and everybody pays him rent taxes to live there. Fief. So like peasants and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So like, we got to give 10% of our crop, and then he promises to protect you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's, in a weird way, we're kind of working our way back to that. In a weird way. Feudalism, fiefdoms.
Okay.
Right?
I understand feudalism, but I didn't know the term fiefdom.
A fiefdom is
like a feudal kingdom?
Yeah, but it's more like a town. It's very small.
Right, like a tribe.
Yeah, maybe a little bigger, more well developed,
right.
but more or less, right?
I get
so like
it now.
Tribal chief. So, governments, as they get more efficient and as technology improves, they tend to get bigger. But for the longest time, government was constantly small and changing, right? Because think about it. For the longest time, you're talking even into like the 1800s, like, hey, you owe me taxes. Or else what? Or else what? Or else now I got to show up at your place and make an example out of you. And if I can get enough people to beat your people from paying the taxes, guess who the new tribal chief is? Guess who the new duke is? Guess who the new, like, that's the part of this that I don't think modern progressives really understand, is how close we are in our species' history, in our evolution, to just might makes right.
Right.
To this idea of like, yeah, I don't think I'll let you arrest me today. Right. And this idea again, like, that people can become literal billionaires for coding, become a billionaire for playing a game, where for the longest time, the only way to have any sort of upward mobility in our species was to kill hundreds of thousands of people. Or have hot daughters that you could sell off,
Brings us back to Bill Belichick.
Yeah. and Hunter S. Thompson. Hunter S. Thompson, he's the father of what they call gonzo journalism.
Gonzo journalism meaning what?
Putting himself into the story.
He's in it. Like he's like absorbed in it. Like he's like he wrote a book on the Hells Angels and he traveled around the Hells Angels for a while.
Yeah, and it was his perspective, and he didn't shy away from doing the bad things and be like, so everything today is some form, shade of gonzo journalism. When he was doing it, it was thought of as very like lowbrow, very classless. You're supposed to be objective. The story's not about you. Write about the story. Don't become the story. Hunter S. Thompson didn't do that. Hunter S. Thompson was like the first blogger.
He was kind of revolutionary in that way.
Yeah. I'll do the drugs, and I'm the star of the show. Me and Dr. And it comes from Dr. Gonzo.
Very ahead of his time.
Yeah. He was kind of like a more manly version of the Beats, right? The Beatniks were like kind of the first of those guys to like kind of break that.
I don't know the Beats or the Beatniks.
Yeah, Jack Kerouac, Allen Ginsberg.
Oh, yeah.
So like,
I didn't know their title.
They're like the original hipsters, where like they break all these norms. You're taught the rules at like a lot of people don't know. Like Jack Kerouac went to Harvard, I believe, right? Didn't Jack Kerouac? So here he is, like this hobo riding the trains all the way across the country, riding on the road. I'm just the common man. You went to Harvard and you grew up on the Upper East Side. Like, you're a privileged kid. They're the original hipsters.
You just want to, you want to experience a different life.
Yeah, and like Ginsberg is openly bisexual. They all lived in Greenwich Village. So like they were just like, oh, what do you think of this, Dad? And they're thought of as these great thinkers, but they're just, they're the original Brooklyn hipsters.
So we were saying the reason why we have the Hunter S. Thompson thing pulled up is because you were saying your writing comes best at night. You do your best writing as a comic comedian. You do it late at night.
And it kills me. I'll be up till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Till 4, but if you have that inspiration, you got to kind of follow down that trail.
Yeah.
So now here's a day in the life of Hunter S. Thompson, read to us by none other than Christian Perella.
All right, so 3 p.m. we rise.
3 p.m. he's waking up.
3 p.m.
3 p.m. Well, because bro, if you starting to write at, I mean, you maybe
This
shut
was-
it down at 4. Homeboy might shut it down at 8 a.m.
This is like the other day where you had to wake me up at
I had to
4.
wake you up 3 times.
Buddy, that was a rough day. That was a rough
I had
day
to wake
after
you
a
up
rough
3
night.
times. You lost your phone in the
It wasn't
Uber.
a great night. It was a great night, but it wasn't a great night.
Yeah, it was a great night. It was a shitty morning, or there was no morning.
There was no morning.
You were just
That's
poof.
that's
You
a
went
day.
poof right in the afternoon.
Is this why you're reading this? Are you trying to tell me something? Is this an intervention? If this is an intervention, you guys need to tell
You
me
guys,
right now.
you need to tell him. Yeah, nah, it's not yet. I'm waiting for you to hit rock bottom.
I've been there.
I feel like this is G's schedule from 15 years ago.
Yeah, maybe. Keep going.
So we got
Chris.
305. We got Chivas Regal with
Chivas.
Chivas.
That's
That's alcohol, right?
Yeah.
What kind
Chivas
of alcohol is that?
I think
Is
it's
that like
whiskey.
scotch or
No, I
whiskey?
think it's whiskey.
with the morning papers, Dunhill cigarette, 345 cocaine,
All right, so wait, time out. He wakes up at 3, and then what's the next time?
305.
3:05. With it, so in 3
Whiskey and a cigarette. Reads the
whiskey
paper.
and a
He's
cigarette
hydrating.
there's some ice in that glass.
He gets 45 minutes into his day and goes, I need a bump.
45
Not a cup of coffee.
45 minutes cocaine.
Yeah.
Or so at 3:45.
Then
All right, so he's already had a cigarette, a drink, and Coke in the first
Not-
45 minutes.
It's not an hour into the day.
Yep. Keep going, Bubba.
Then 350, he's going to go back in with another glass of Chivas.
Now, here's
Alright.
the thing.
And a cigarette.
It's very important for people to understand. When you pour whiskey or scotch, they say 1 finger or 2 fingers, right? And then you got rocks. So it's like 2 ounces is considered a quote-unquote glass. He means a glass. He would pour a 16-ounce glass of
Come
whiskey.
on.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Next, we got 405, first cup of
Respect.
coffee with a Dunhill.
So now he's having a little caffeine with his liquor.
He did a bump before coffee.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Nice. Keep going, Bubba.
415, cocaine.
Okay.
After
Four-
the coffee. So he goes...
I feel like why even need
He
the
goes
coffee?
Coke. Coffee, Coke?
Yeah.
Dude, that toilet bowl's a wreck.
Yeah.
That toilet bowl's a
Yeah,
mess.
you know what? I don't think they mentioned when he takes his shits in here, but we'll keep going.
I guarantee you it's somewhere between 345 and 415. I guarantee. I feel very strong. I feel very strongly.
Yeah, well, let's see. We can try and interpret the breaks in the time because they're very regimented. This is
He's also
4:15.
probably getting the good stuff. He's probably not getting all the baby laxative stuff. He's probably.
I don't know what year is this? Is this around? Is it like the 60s?
Yeah, he's got his CIA handlers definitely getting him the stuff straight from the source.
He's a CIA guy? All right. So where are we at?
Operation
4:15?
Mockingbird.
Were we at 4:15 with his second bump of Coke?
Yeah, now we're going to 416 where he's going to do some orange juice and then another cigarette.
Got to be healthy.
Yeah, he's getting there. Now he's getting some vitamin C.
Nutrients.
Here's a pretty big gap. This is a 14-minute gap from 416 to 430. He does cocaine at 430 again.
Okay.
And then
That might be a post dump. About a 14-minute dump and then a little more blow up the nose.
454 cocaine again.
So he goes cocaine to cocaine.
Yeah,
Got
then
it.
to cocaine again at 505.
Once you get going, there's really nothing else you want to do.
Is that right?
Yeah. Once you get that humming
So I
going
guess
a
this
little,
is the little
once you get
this
once
is
you get that
period.
numb feeling, you're just like, and then you start to feel the numb go away. You're like, oh, I know what time it is.
Now you're numb in your mouth, in your nose, your face. What is
Nummy gummies,
so,
baby. Yeah. It's all kind of like.
So your mouth's numb by doing it up your nose, or is that when people rub it in the teeth?
You get the post nasal drip,
Okay.
and then you get a little gums going on. You nummy
So you don't
gummies,
want to
yeah.
spit those loogies out. That's
Nah,
some good stuff.
Nah, you get a little extra, and then the and you're riding the edge when you start getting the involuntary twitches and shit. It's like
Really?
your body's like every muscle just starts firing. It's like- and then you're getting like you can't really like you're like
That's kind of me all the time. That's why it's good I've never used Coke. Cause like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Standing still has never really been my thing. Keep going.
All right, then he's going to go
What time?
more. I think we're at 511.
Well, he's been awake for an hour, so I mean fair.
Yeah, then he's going to do coffee and then cigarettes.
Coffee and cigarettes.
530, more ice in the Chivas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how
Alright.
to say that. 545 cocaine.
Okay.
6 p.m. grass. to take off the edge.
It's a little weed because he's getting a little
Little
cokey.
gotta
What
even
would
it
you call
out.
that?
Gotta
tranquilo a little
Hey,
bit.
calm down, bud.
Yeah.
7:05. He's gonna go to Woody Creek Tavern.
Yeah, you know,
All right.
because
Breakfast time.
yeah,
Well, this is lunch now, and he's gonna have a Heineken.
What was the orange juice for breakfast?
I guess so.
Yeah,
It's probably how he maintains such a slim
and the
figure.
cocaine.
Intermittent
Right.
fasting, really. You know.
No, it's not because in the first 5 minutes he's already drinking alcohol. He broke his fast.
All right, here's his lunch: a Heineken, 2 margaritas, 2 cheeseburgers, 2 orders of
Two
fries,
burgers. Keep going.
a plate of tomatoes, coleslaw, a taco salad, a double order of onion rings, carrot cake, ice cream, bean fritter,
Yo.
Dunhills, another Heineken, cocaine, and for the ride home, a snow cone,
All
a
right.
glass of shredded ice
I
over
think
which
he's full of
a
shit.
glass of
He's
shredded ice
lying.
over which is poured 3 or 4 jiggers of Chivas.
Nice.
All right. So after that meal, after that drinking, you got to go to sleep. I feel like you got to go to sleep right there. But that's, I guess, the cocaine is the performance
Yeah,
enhancer.
for sure.
Like that, just hearing that order made me feel like tired.
Yeah. Hearing that order made me feel like in today's economy, that's a $70 lunch.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for
like,
sure. At least, I mean, he's got the Heinekens going
yeah,
too.
this dude's got ripping a $75 lunch right there. Nice.
Man, that's incredible. He's got carrot cake. He goes 2 cheeseburgers and a taco salad.
I respect it.
2 orders of onion rings, 2 orders of French fries, carrot cake. Did I miss anything? Any food?
Fries,
Onion
rings,
rings,
said it. Did I
snow
miss anything?
cone,
Oh yeah, the snow cone. Yeah.
cake, a bean fritter,
Bean fritter.
whatever that is.
For people that don't know who we're talking about, by the way, this is Johnny Depp in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Johnny
Right.
Depp played him in 2 movies. I forget the name of the other movie. And Bill Murray played him in a movie as well.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
So after his snow cone.
So after he gets home, he's going to do cocaine again at 9 p.m.
Okay.
And then it gets even crazier at 10. He's going to drop acid.
Nice.
All right.
Then he's going to do 11 p.m. I don't know how to read this. Chartreuse?
Chartreuse.
Chartreuse? What is that?
It's like brandy.
Oh, okay. And then cocaine and grass.
Okay.
11:30, cocaine.
My man likes to party.
Midnight.
He's alone, by the way, this whole time.
Well, isn't there someone here documenting this?
I don't know.
I think he's documenting
I think it's
it.
him.
Okay.
And then midnight, this just says Hunter ready to write.
Yeah, I think there's someone else, unless he's like, Hunter right now. So what time is this? This is midnight?
Yeah.
So now after all of that,
Pre-game.
all of that, that's just to get himself ready to write.
What, you stretch before you work out, don't you? I mean, you don't just go out to the cage cold. You know, you get a little
Brother.
sweat going.
Yeah, he's getting his brain as malleable as possible.
Yeah.
Now here's what's interesting, Christian. How do you think he died?
An overdose?
Interesting. How do you think he died?
Gunshot to the head.
Gunshot to the head
Yeah.
is right.
Yeah.
But from who?
Himself.
Himself. He killed himself on, what was it, his 66th birthday? Because that's what Hemingway did. He told everybody he was going to do it. Nobody believed he would do it, and he did it. By the way, he always kept at least 1 gun on him loaded at all times while he's doing this.
Yeah. Has he ever shot anybody? Wait, so now he's ready to write? Is that the end of it?
No, it keeps going.
Because there's more. Yeah, let's finish this.
Okay, so from 12:05 a.m. to 6 a.m., he's going to do chartreuse. Sorry. Cocaine.
I don't know. It could
No,
be
I think you're
Chartreuse.
right.
Okay.
It sounds better. Cocaine, grass, Chivas, coffee, Heineken, clove cigarettes, grapefruit, Dunhills.
Oh, he switches to cloves. You gotta go light on the cigarettes. You know, he's doing cigarette light there.
Right.
Orange juice, and then gin. And then 6 a.m., he's going to get in the hot tub, have champagne, Dove bars,
Chocolate
fettuccine
bars.
Alfredo.
Oh, he's eating fettuccine in a hot tub? Come on, bruh. You don't want that heavy white sauce in your. Ugh.
Let the boy cook.
Then he's going to do, what is this, Halcyon?
What's that, sleeping pill? Halcyon?
Halcyon?
I guess I don't know.
Halcyon, and then he's going to sleep after 20 minutes.
That's gotta be a
pill.
sleeping pill after all that
Or a
fucking
tranquilizer.
blood.
That right there is
At what time? What time to go to
depression
sleep?
incarnate.
He goes to sleep at 8:20.
Wow.
Yeah. And he gets
Wow.
up at 3 and does it all over again.
Wow.
My man,
Yikes.
circadian rhythms all over the
Yikes.
place.
Yeah. I don't
So-
know about that.
Yeah. Well, one of these days I'm gonna document a Gerard day, and we'll see how that stacks.
How it stacks up.
Way boring.
Yeah.
Wakes up at 10, eats cheeseburger.
Goes on Instagram.
Drinks cup of coffee. Goes on Instagram. Eats another cheeseburger.
Goes to bed. Goons.
Goons. Goes to bed. You know. Yeah. Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
I wouldn't want anybody documenting any of my days ever. There's just no way you ever feel good about it. You're just like, I can always do more. I can always do better.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's like that efficiency shit.
Yeah.
Damn, that's wild, man. Now compare that to the TB12 method. Doesn't Tom Brady document his day? Wakes up at 4 a.m.
Yeah, that's I know Wahlberg does.
Wahlberg, right?
Wahlberg's like
wakes up at 4
wakes up
a.m.
at 4,
Works out, prays for an hour.
Prays, breakfast, shower, breakfast, drop the kids off at school, snack, another workout.
Yeah, right.
It's like the total opposite.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take it out.
But
let's take it out on that.
It's crazy when you think like how'd that dude survive? You know, like it's
Well, because he had the grapefruit and he had all that vitamin C, man. He had the grapefruit and the couple glasses of orange juice.
Wasn't eating any processed foods, I don't think. You know, I think all the food was organic, is what it is.
Is that right?
I think.
Well, this was in the '60s, so he had a better chance of that.
No doubt about it. You know what there was none of in that whole day? No seed oils, buddy.
No seed oils.
No seed oils.
Oh, what was the French fries being fried in?
Beef tallow.
Back then, probably probably like bacon fat or something like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Fucking A. He had to take himself out. He couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Can't get me.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, this was an interesting episode. Hope people like it. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm Gerard. That's Mickey. This is Slick and Thick. Christian's over in the booth. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.